शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यश्छन्दसा मृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृता आत्संबभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिवा कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिवा ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमितमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय वशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बिलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मा ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मानि स्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधितेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भद्रं नो अपि वातय मनः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः व्योममानं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तं हदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये ॐ शान्ति 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 Number 7 न अन्तः प्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नो उभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञं अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यम् अलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारम् प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तम् शिवमद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. As we saw last time also, that what the Shastra is telling us is that please understand your true value. We have a distorted view of who we are. And it all really comes about because of not having an understanding of the incidental versus intrinsic. This is what it boils down to. Incidental carries some of the gunas of the intrinsic. Incidental carries some of the qualities of the intrinsic, and we get lost in it. And in doing so, we fail to recognize the true value of the intrinsic. We're so lost in enjoying the presence of the intrinsic in the incidental. So it's very much like, for example, supposing you have a person who's enjoying some gold jewelry. This is an example often given in the time of marriages and so on and so forth, where the father and the mother, when their daughter is getting married, they decide to give certain jewelry to their daughters. And the daughters are young women, and they appreciate the design and the fashion of the day, and they have some ideas about what they want. Do they want some kind of a necklace, or do you want this? Do you want some ring? And so they are very much involved in the actual design of the ornamentation. And in doing so, they don't really, and so in that case it's a golden jewelry, so they understand the goldenness of the ornamentation, but they don't appreciate the value of the gold itself, how much it costs, how it is made up, what came about it, and the fact that it is something which is much more valuable than the design itself. The design can fade in and out of because of the fashion, whatever it is, but the gold is very valuable, absolutely just amazing. And so exactly the same thing is the situation with us. We are enjoying the ornamentation of our life, what we call as swabhava. And so we are enjoying it because, so for example, the fact that I am is something that I'm enjoying. I'm present, I'm enjoying my presence, my life, and so on and so forth. And that's all I need to enjoy. There's nothing more that I need to do. But what I need to do is to understand is my isness. So in doing, just to interrupt my thought, in enjoying my presence and isness in life, I am involved with the false assumption that as long as my body is alive, I am alive. As long as my body is, I am is. So the incidental aspects of my life, which is the body, the mind, and so on and so forth, which is borrowing the intrinsic, which is that I am, my own nature is isness. This is the gold. This I fail to appreciate. It's an amazing thing how every human being should know this, but we don't. That the intrinsic value of the Atma is the Swarupa, which is isness. But I fail to appreciate it, and the reason I fail to appreciate it is because I'm so involved in enjoying the borrowing of the intrinsic by the incidental. So my mind also borrows the isness from me. My body borrows its isness from me. The entire set of experiences borrows its isness from me. And I am very busy with all of that. Happy with it for the time being. And then when it starts to get away from me, and then you feel that, there's problems with it, but we don't know what to do. And so the Shastra says really, Saha Sa Atma Savijñeya. So that intrinsic Vastu, the very person, not the personality, the very Swarupa, not the Swabhava, is worth knowing. Is worth knowing. It is something that should not escape us. And the interesting thing is that because it is so valuable, the most valuable thing in the whole creation, therefore it requires more work. Because, it feels like it's me, so why should I work for it? It's already me. It's true. But because it is so valuable, as the very as the very law of nature is, that something which is not that valuable may be easily achievable. But if it is something which is very valuable, you have to strive for it. And the striving for that is from the standpoint of aptasya aptihi, praptasya praptihi. So there is some striving, but the striving is that of aptasya aptihi. And recently, when my friend Paul Gupta passed away, and his family had invited me to give him, so they used to have us sitting in their house every day for mourning, and so they asked me to. So I went there 2-3 times and gave them some ideas and so on. So this is the basic thing I said, that really speaking, if you look at apraptasya praptihi versus praptasya praptihi, there's a basic difference between them. Apraptasya prapti means you don't have it and you have to find it. And praptasya prapti means you have it, but you still have to work for it because it's around here somewhere close by. I think, remember for a long time I used to give you example of my friend who thought he had lost his passport going into Tokyo. And it was right there in one of the pockets. This was my favorite example. But that example has been superseded by my own personal recent example. This is like 6-8 months ago. This happened to me, and that to me was a great example, which is that I was going in the morning to going somewhere, and I usually take my wallet and then check to make sure everything is okay. And I found my credit card was missing. And so immediately you feel, my goodness, the credit card is missing. What happened? You can imagine the kind of emotional response you have. Losing a credit card is a major problem. It's so you have to immediately find out, well, where were we yesterday? Where is it? And then you can't even remember all the places you went to. You went to Costco, and then you went here, and you had a meal somewhere. It's a big problem. Where should we go? How should we, in the meantime, should I stop the payment? You can imagine the worry and the work involved in getting all of it done. This happened to me. And then all of a sudden, I recalled that the previous night, I had made an online purchase from sitting on my desk on the computer using my credit card. And I had not left the house since then. Oh my goodness, what a relief it was. What a relief it was. So consider this situation. From apraptasya praptihi, it immediately crossed over into praptasya praptihi. Now, I still don't have it. But you know what? The work involved in achieving praptasya prapti is nothing compared to what it would have been if it was apraptasya prapti. Nothing. Imagine, you have to you and your spouse have to sit down and say, okay, where were we yesterday? Oh, I think we went there. Imagine all of that. Here, I knew it is somewhere in my room. And I hope you're better than I am, but my desk also gets very messy. There are all kinds of papers come in, and I don't really. It's there in one of the papers. Took me 2 minutes. Found it. So I was telling the people there that really finding Ishvara, finding Brahman, and finding Atma is praptasya prapti, natu apraptasya prapti. And it is almost like fun. should be fun. That I am, Ishvara is around me somewhere, but I don't get it. But it should, really speaking, I would say that the student of Vedanta has arrived at the scene and has made it if you simply understand that this is praptasya prapti. That's all you need to do. We think it is apraptasya prapti, that I don't know what's going to happen to my life, who's in charge. All this is, just theoretical. What is the application? All those kinds of things is apraptasya prapti. But in the study, if you begin to, and you have to make that decision, everybody has to do that separately. If you begin to shift over to, my goodness, this is what the Vedanta's greatest contribution is, to make me understand that this is praptasya prapti. Then you still haven't found it. You don't have the direct experience of the fact that you are the very thing you're seeking, that your swarupa is paramananda. You haven't found that yet. But the search for that is as much fun as it was for me when I knew I was sitting here in my room, that it is here somewhere. Imagine that. It almost was fun. I would have wished that my search would have taken me a little longer time, honestly. But it was right there. I had to remove a couple of papers, and it was there. So similarly here also, so it says savijñeyaha, sa atma savijñeyaha. And so here really all it has to involve is to distinguish between intrinsic and incidental. What is intrinsic, what is incidental, I have to do from vichara, because they are all mixed up. And so anyonya ashrayaha, so the person and the personality are all mixed up. When you're acting in a play, for example, where is the actor, where is the role? They're all mixed up. You have to separate them mentally. So that's what this very important mantra is saying. So here, na antah pragya, na bahish pragya, na ubhayata pragya, na pragyam, na apragyam, all of that is incidental. All of this is incidental. We have to do the vichara. And you have to do the vichara by keeping the principles of logic with you. Principles of logic are very important, because the Shruti is giving you this path. This is what you have to do. But then I have to employ the yukti, which is principles of logic, to uncover the truth of the Shruti. So what do I mean by that? Because I have to understand that what comes and goes cannot be me. What is there for a while which is not there in other times cannot be me. This is the principle of logic. I am what I am, and if I have to look at the very truth about myself, then one of the principles of logic is I should never disappear. Never. I may appear to disappear, that's okay. So like, for example, the darkness may hide the presence of something, but the presence of something cannot disappear. So anyway, all of those kinds of things, the antah pragya means that I should see that my waking state disappears. it is replaced by some swapnavastha, some dream state. It gets replaced. And the sapnavastha gets replaced by something else, and both of them get replaced by deep sleep. So really speaking, that's how I have nothing to do with it. But the one thing that does not get replaced is Atma Pratyaya Saram. So this is what it is. Atma Pratyaya Saram, and one which is free of all prapancha, prapancha upashamam. Then Shantam, Shivam. So we saw all of this. I'm just revising. So Shivam, really the very nature of Atma is Shivam. It is devoid of any impurity. Just total joy. And this is where I think you just getting up in the morning, or even just before going to sleep, or any other time for that matter, but particularly in those two times, just to see your personality devoid of all of the things that the day brings to you is very useful. Getting up in the morning, these are precious moments. Before you get involved, who are you? What do you have to do? Then the thoughts of the body, thoughts of the mind, responsibilities, relationships, all of that come and impinge on you. But they were not there a second ago. So that cannot be your intrinsic nature. But your intrinsic nature of aham, shantam, just consciousness, that is your intrinsic nature. And so Shivam. So we saw Swami Maheshananji had pointed this out, that in our literature, the Shastric literature, the Shivam and Vishnu and Shakti, so this is called Tri Ratna, the three jewels of the understanding, have a certain role. So there we saw that Vishnu represents the upadana karanam, the material cause, which is also impinged with Maya Shakti. So that's the Vishnu. Then the Shakti is the ability to project, and all of that comes from the very basic nature of myself, which is Shivam. And the three of them are Advaitam. It's not as though they are different things. They're all the same. They're all the same. Here it's interesting, in one of the we'll perhaps take in there is a section in the Panchadashi, in the 6th chapter, which I'm studying, where there is an objection that, listen, you say that this is Advaitam. That's the word that I'm keying off of, Advaitam. One without a second, all the same. So there's an objection to this word Advaitam. And the objection is that Advaitam is not my experience, can never be my experience. And so therefore, for you to say this is that Shivam, Advaitam, etc., this is just all theory. There's no real, I cannot experience Advaitam. The beautiful section is a large section of going back and forth between Purva Paksha and Siddhanta and so on. So there, the Siddhanti says, why do you say that? It's not true that it is not. And so another thing that the objectioner says is that fine, Advaitam can be a paroksha vastu. Paroksha vastu means it is a possibility, but it cannot be aparoksha, cannot be your own personal experience. This whole discussion about the objection, the Advaitam, is a very important one, because this goes to the very heart of the sampradaya, of the true nature of Vedanta, because the people who don't understand it and do not agree with it are many. It's like you have, it's exactly like Kauravas and Pandavas. There were very few Pandavas, and there were huge number of Kauravas. And so it doesn't look like they are going to win because of the quantity. So here also, for example, the Vedantic view of Advaita is heavily challenged. I mean, if you look at the whole population of the human beings on this earth, what is it, 6 or 7 billion? The absolutely vast majority, whether they think about it or not, all say, what are you talking about? What Advaitam? But the truth is not based on majority, it is based on truth. So in this argument, going back into this section of the Panchadashi, elsewhere also, I just happened to read it. So here it says, well, no, that's not true. That the Advaita is aparoksha. It is your own personal. Aparoksha means not away, it is you. Aparoksha means, so the word aparoksha is meant by your own personal experience. Like, for example, if you have tasted something, if you have tasted ice cream, then the taste of ice cream, the joy of ice cream is aparoksha. It's not, it's like when a child is first introduced to ice cream. Before that it was paroksha. But once it is experienced, it becomes aparoksha. So similarly, the Advaita is an aparoksha experience. So the questioner says, why? How? I don't understand it. My whole, my own personal experience is duality, limitation. How can you say it is unaparoksha? So Siddhanti says here, listen. Does your consciousness, your awareness, the Atma, ever have duality? So the objectioner says yes, because when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at another person, that person is different from me. And so therefore there is duality. I am someone, I am somebody, and that person is somebody. So there is duality there. What are you going to have to do about that? So we said no. No. Because in order to validate the other person, I need me. My me is present both in my own body's presence and in other body's presence. And in fact, the real progress, it will come as the study goes, is that you begin to see yourself even when you are looking at other things. Because when you're looking at other things at the moment, which is excusable, reasonable, you just take it for what it is. You don't really go behind the scenes. But in the understanding of the Shastra, the next level of understanding is when you're looking at someone, you also have to see what is that looking at someone due to. It is due to my consciousness. It is very much like if you're just looking at a gold jewelry and enjoying it, fine, enjoy it. But if you were to look at the intrinsic nature of looking at the jewelry, here Swami Dayananda used to say that, he says that this is kind of like, he says our thinking is this is a golden chain. So in looking at a golden chain, just look at what the conclusion is, that the chain is the vastu. And the word golden is a property, isn't it? This is how we say, this is a golden chain. Chain is the main thing. Necklace is the golden necklace. Necklace is the main thing. It happens to be gold. It's just a gold is just on. In fact, the fact of the matter is, it is chainy gold. It's chainy gold. Gold is the vastu, and the chaininess is the property. That is the incidental. So we get reversed. So similarly, going back again, so Siddhanti argues that, listen, when you look at somebody, right now you are putting all of your emphasis on that person. That person is, he's walking around, he's talking to me and listening to me, whatever it is, and so on and so forth. And you are completely oblivious of your consciousness, which is making it all happen. It's exactly like saying chainy gold and golden chain. So therefore it argues, so I'm going back to the original, don't forget what our objective is, Advaitam. Advaitam. And so therefore you cannot say that Advaitam is not aparoksha, because my consciousness never leaves, no matter what it is. And in fact, the progress, as I said earlier, Swami Maheshananji also emphasizes this so well. The progress in life is, it's not as though your transactions in life should stop you in any way. On the contrary, it's an invitation. No matter what the transactions be, pleasant or unpleasant, doesn't matter. That's incidental. Let it be, whatever it is. But during the transaction, the progress should be, if I am seeing something, my attention should be, who is the seer of the scene? And if you progress to that point, then you will realize that that's the seer of the scene is always there, never unpresent, never. So how can it be how can it be Dvaita? So the Dvaita could be between one ornamentation and another ornamentation, but it cannot be between an ornamentation and gold. There's no Dvaita. It's always Advaita, no matter what the ornament is. So anyway, that's just a explanation of the word Advaita in a different context. I just thought I'd so Shantam Shivam Advaitam. So now we end this verse with the explanation of Chaturtham Manyante. We didn't do that last week, so let's go into that. Chaturtham Manyante. So in the Chaturtham Manyante, we saw that we saw the three, and the three were Jagrat Avastha, Bahishpragyam, Swapnavastha, which is Antahpragyam, and Sushupti Avastha, which is Pragyanaganam. Those three we saw. Now, in all those three, there was what is called Shabda Pravrittihi. Shabda Pravrittihi. Shabda Pravrittihi means that we had the power of the words to reveal. This is what is called Shabda Pravrittihi, also called, all these are technical things, called Vachyatvam. Vachyatvam means one which is within the purview of the words being able to reveal the identity of something. So, for example, we saw that the Shabda Pravritti is of four kinds. Remember? Jati, then Guna, right? Kriya and Sambandha. Those were the four. There's no other fourth one. There's no other fifth one. There's only the four ones. This is called Shabda Pravritti. And now we have, because the promise of the Mandukya was that Atma Chatushpad has four quarters. We saw that in the very beginning. That was the promise, that was the pratigya. Atma, he says, I'm going to explain to you that there is Atma has four quarters. First quarter had Shabda Pravritti, second one had Shabda Pravritti, third one had Shabda Pravritti. The fourth one does not have Shabda Pravritti. So the objection is, why not? You said there were four of them, you should also describe the fourth one. So we say this one does not have Shabda Pravritti. Shabda Pravritti means that if you cannot see it, if you cannot feel it, if you cannot touch it, this is what Shabda Pravritti is, something which is tangible. That's a good way to describe it in English language. So all those first three have tangibility. Some presence, some tangibility. The fourth one, the Shastra says is not tangible. Okay, if it is not tangible, then it is not there. So Shunyam eva tat. All this is given in the Shankara Bhashya in great detail. In fact, this particular verse, I was telling you this, Swami Maheshananji takes, my God, 60 pages, 50, 60 pages. And we have only covered like 5 or 6. And I was seeing yesterday, if we just finish them, it will probably take me another 4 or 5 weeks of just doing that. I don't think I'll do that. But in terms of the detail and so on, it's just amazing. So it says, okay, then it's not there. Let it not be there. This is how the Buddhists argue, that Shunyam eva tat. Let it not be there. So if you cannot touch it, there's no tangibility, you cannot feel it or something, then it does not be there. So we said no. That's not there. something is showing that it is nothing there. Something is showing. It is like, let's say that, like we had this event go, Aim for Seva event in the California theater. So in the Aim for Seva event, we had, just look at it. So there was a stage, there was a table set up with tablecloth and all these things. Then all the people came, then the artists came, then there was music, and there was a lot going on. So this is all called Shabda Pravritti. So there was a lot going on, there was something, they were enjoyers, they were performers, enjoyers, setup, all of this was going on. And then after the event was over, one by one, everybody left. The props were taken away, the artists left, you and I also, and the whole hall was empty. Nothing going on. And it was interesting. I had an interesting experience one time. This is like about 6 years ago. My wife and I had gone to, I think in one of these San Jose theaters, I think the Theater of Performing Arts. So we have a American couple who are very good friends of ours, Dick and Donna. So they had invited us for a play. So Pami and I, the four of us went there. And we enjoyed the thing. Everybody was all gone and so on and so forth. So we were walking back to our car, and I found that my car keys were not there. So I said, what happened? I had my car keys and they're not there. So we went back to the hall, and this was like 15-20 minutes later. Everything was completely, the hall was empty. So I walked in, looked at my seat, and it turns out that he was not even there. When I sat with him in my friend's car, it was on the seat of the car, because the seats were kind of back like this, and my keys. So anyway, that's a separate thing. It took us like an hour to find it. I found it. But going back to the hall, it was empty. But the lights were on. So the light was on, which showed that there is nothing there. So here also the Chaturtha Manyante means that my consciousness says there is nothing going on. Nothing going on. And it's not as though the consciousness itself disappears, but it is not showing anything. And in fact, I can distinguish that it is showing something or it is not showing something. Is it empty or is it not empty? Same thing, exactly what happens. This is a very beautiful thing to see, that really I have a lot of specific knowledge, and I have specific ignorance, and mixed knowledge, mixed ignorance. All of that I know. Do you know English? Yes. Do you know some strange language, this or the other? Some Swahili, Odia, this, that or the other, Punjabi? No. All of that you know. You could not say that unless you know. So the I knownness never goes away. So we go back to the Buddhists, so we say that even if there is no Shabda Pravritti, you cannot say it is not there. So for example, the ornamentation disappears, but the gold remains. Yes, the specific form of the ornamentation is not there. So here some interesting argument is given. So if you look at the literature of Buddhists, they do not give the example of the gold and the ornamentation. Then what do they say? They give the example of the snake and the rope. So the example they give is that, listen, once you understand that the imagery of the snake was false by showing the proper light and so on and so forth, then the snake disappears. Lock, stock and barrel. It's not as though some pieces of the snake or head is still there. Like, if there's a real snake and you kill it into pieces, then the tail may be still there, the head may be. No. The whole thing goes. There's nothing left. So they argue that similarly, the whole world is nothing but like a projection of the snake. And once the right knowledge takes place, nothing is remaining. Nothing is remaining. The whole world disappears. So to that we say no. Because what remains is the rope. Remains is the rope. The length of the rope remains. The width of the rope remains. The undulations of the rope remains. And so all of those were still there, but they were covered up by some extra imagination on your part, on our part. Fear, the moving of the snake, the dangerousness of all of that was extra. But so in fact we argue, this is a very important argument of the Siddhanti, of the Vedantins. You cannot have mithya without satyam. Shunyatvam is not valid, absolutely. And in fact, what is left is so adhisthana. The adhisthana is an important. Adhisthana means what is holding it together is an important one. And finally, this is where the dialogue happens between Purva Pakshi and Siddhanti. And so we look at the Buddhists' view of this as very well represented by the Purva Pakshi, by somebody who objects. Other schools of thought don't even go that far. The Buddhists have done a good job of arguing, but wrongly. So Buddhists now say, you see, your adhisthana is left. So just like, for example, you say that I have a cup of water. So the water, the adhisthana for the water is the cup. So if you say there is adhisthana, where is the cup? You say the water is gone, everything, only the adhisthana left. So yes, I can see the cup after the water has been thrown away. But where is the cup about? Where is the Atma? Because that also should be, a cup is also seen, it is tangible. Where is the Atma? There is no Atma. So that do we say that, listen, the reason why you are arguing wrongly is because the adhisthana of the cup and the water is samana sattaka. Samana sattaka, we already went through this, remember? Samana sattaka means they have equal existence. The cup and the water have equal existence. They are at the same level of reality. Here this is Vishama Sattaka. Vishama Sattaka means the adhisthana, the adhisthana of the relationship. So this is an important thing to see. what is the relationship between a cup and the water? The relationship is that of a adhisthana. Adhisthana means a adhara, means something which is holding the water. So the relationship between the Atma and Anatma is not as though I am holding the Anatma, that the whole experience of my life is being held by the Atma. That's not what we are saying. It is not like water and cup. Then what are you saying? The relationship sambandha. So sambandha. Oh, that's another thing, very interesting. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So the Buddhists argue that wait a second, didn't you say that the Shabda Pravritti is one of four kinds? So we said yes, we said that. Jati, Guna, and Kriya. And the last one was Sambandha. Sambandha means relationship. So then you introduce someone and he says, this is my brother. So you begin to appreciate a person by the sambandha between the two of us. So the Buddhists say that why can't you say that the Atma and Anatma has a sambandha? Sambandha means that you are the very holder of the Anatma, just like the gold is the holder of ornamentation. So you cannot say that there is no Shabda Pravritti. Cannot say that. That means that it should be tangible, and it is not. I don't see Atma anywhere. So there is a problem here. You guys are just, you don't know what you're talking about. Say the Buddhists. Not just Buddhists, a lot of other people also, but I'm just giving you one example of that. So we said no, because there is a sambandha, but it is not the way you look at it. It is what is called adhyasika sambandha. Adhyasa sambandha means that there is an erroneous relationship between them, exactly like a rope and a snake. So, can you say that there is a sambandha between the rope and the snake? Yes, you can say that. Why can we say that? Because you will not see a snake when you mistake a chair. See, so there is no possibility of snakeness being seen on a chair. But there is a possibility of seeing a snake on a rope which is approximately the measure of a snake. So there is a sambandha between the rope and the snake. But is there a sambandha between rope and the snake? You ask the rope, hey, what did you do? You're connected to this. He says, I don't know what you're talking about. Have some coffee or something, I don't know. So there is no sambandha between. This is what is called adhyasika sambandha, means erroneous sambandha. So we say that the projection of the world upon you, which meaning I am this much, and so the whole world means, Swami Dayanand used to say this very well. He says, please, when you say the world, include your body in the world. Don't say I have no connection with this world outside, but I have a deep connection with me. That's also wrong. In fact, anything which is tangible is anatma. And your own body is tangible. your own mind, your own thinking. In fact, the very idea of me, as we will discuss this in great detail, is also part of the anatma. So this whole idea of me and the world and my connection and experiences and good and bad, karma phala, the whole thing has no connection with the Atma. And if there is a connection, it is adhyasika sambandha. Therefore, it is argued that Chaturtham means the fourth one is just a way of saying it. Just a way of saying it. In fact, it is common to all of them. As I mentioned to you, that if you were to, Swami Maheshwaraji had given this example, several times, that you walk into a railway compartment and there's a seat and there's 3 people sitting there, big people, and they have all spread out and so on. There's no space for you. And it happens all the time. You enter a train and now you have to travel for like 8 hours and you need to sit down somewhere. You cannot stand. So you keep looking at some seats and you find this particular seat, if I can squeeze these people a little bit, I think I can find enough room. So you request them, sir, can you please give me some space? So they're not very happy about it, but they say, okay, all right. So they move in one direction. So when you say, please give me some space, it is not like, can you please give me some roti? It is not an object that has to be, it's not a tangible object that you're asking for. In fact, you are asking for something which is where tangibility is absent. So similarly, Chaturtham Manyante means when I search for the Atma, and this is the problem we have actually, this is, honestly, this is something we have to look about. When we look at our search for the Paramatma within me, I do not understand that I cannot be tangible. Because I'm looking for tangibility. This I can understand, that I am temporarily happy, which is also tangible. This I can understand. That I am free of worry, that I can understand. But the fact that I cannot have worry or tangibility or happiness or anything, nothing like that is even possible to me, I am free. I'm peaceful. And in fact, I am formless. This, my mind, blocks me from going in that direction. My own thinking blocks me. And he says, what are you talking about? How is that possible? Swami Dhananand used to say that. He said, it's interesting. The problem with our sticking to limitations, evaluating myself along with the limitation. The problem with doing that, because I have a certain joy. The joy is that I'm okay the way I am. Yeah, I could be a little bit better. In fact, this is all I'm trying to do, is to be incrementally better. But the problem in this conclusion is that I lose the chance to be totally better, be infinite. It's very much like I'm like a room space. And if it can, if the architects are are designing so that I can be extended. I can have the next room also be, I am very happy. Very happy. Now I'm growing. I'm becoming bigger. I'm very happy. And then you said, are you, this is all, yeah, that's all I want. That's all I want. In doing so, I fail to recognize the ability to be totally free, infinitely free. So similarly here also, it is said that once I understand that I am in fact formless, my mind blocks me from understanding that. But that is where the final journey is. That if you want to be free, it has to be unmanifest, intangible. So in the very first verse of the Dakshinamurti Stotram that we studied, we only studied one verse. It's called Pratyaksha Rupam of the Atma. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam. So the very title of the first one is that I am unmanifest, the very inside. And so that one is Chaturtham Manyante. Manyante means that it is not Chaturtham in the classical sense. Like for example, you ask these three people, can you please move? You create the space which is already there, and in fact they are also occupying space. So even the Antah Pragyam, Bahish Pragyam, na Ubhayatah Pragyam, na Pragyam, na Apragyam, all of that also involves the Atma. So this is what I was saying earlier, that really the progress in life is that even as you are, and here Swami Maheshananji was very nice advice. He says, do not make the mistake to say that the Vedanta should be studied in just the classroom. That's just a small part. Unless you extend the study of Vedanta throughout the day, you will miss a chance to understand yourself. So what do you mean by throughout the day? What it means is that we have to slowly develop the habit that even when we are transacting, even when we are buying things, even when we are taking a shower, whatever it is, this is what the Gita says, Shrinvan, I forget all those verses and so on, Shwapan, and exactly the same thing. That really, as you are transacting, you take that opportunity not just to examine what you are transacting with, but who is the person behind all of that. My goodness, I am the one who's seeing the transaction, whose presence is never lost. And if I get into that habit and do this very well, the Advaita, Aparokshatvam of the Advaita becomes very, very firm. So it's not as though it is not Aparoksha, it is not as though it is Advaita, but I don't see it that way, that's all. So may I see it. So this is what is called Chaturtham Manyante. So anyway, I think with that, Sa Atma Sabvigyeya. That is the word which is well knowing. So this verse is now complete, I think. So let's do this. Now we are going back to the Karika. So the verse number 7 is complete. So in the Karika, let's just briefly look at Karika, and then we will leave some more time for questions and discussions today. So here, on page number 4 of this book, so if you recall, before the verse 7 of the Mandukya, we had done nine Karikas. So number 10 now starts, and this will go up to number 18. So 10 to 18, nine Karikas will be there. Then we will go back to the Mandukya with verse number 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I believe those are the only ones. Then from that point on, so in the very first prakarana, Prathama Prakaranam, there is a back and forth between the Mandukya and the Karika. And once all the Mandukyas are done, no, 12. Number 12 also will be there. Then the rest of it is Karika alone. So this is the bulk of our study will be on Karika. But anyway, so now we go back to Karika number 10, very briefly. We'll just look at the word meanings and not have the complete meaning today. So if you can just follow to chant after me. Number 10. Nivrittehi sarva dukkhanam, nivrittehi sarva dukkhanam, Ishanah prabhuravyayah, Advaitah sarva bhavanam, Advaitah sarva bhava, Devasturyor vibhusmritah, Devasturyor vibhusmritah. So you saw the Anvaya, you see the Anvaya below that. You've done a very good job of the Anvaya. Sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe ishanaha, prabhuhu avyayaha, sarva bhavanam advaitaha devaha vibhuhu turyaha smritaha. Turyaha smritaha. So turyaha smritaha means that it is the English translation is very interesting. All pervading is traditionally known. You know how he came up with the word traditionally known. Anyways, pridhu smritaha means that traditionally known means the traditional vidya, the sampradayika vidya. That's what he means by sampradayika vidya, sampradaya vidya. In the true annals of the thinking of the Vedanta. That's what is meant by. So vibhuhu smritaha means that's how it is referred to, how it is remembered, how it is mentioned. Which is mentioned? The fourth stage. The turiya means the fourth stage. Really not the fourth stage, but distinguished from the tangibility of the first three, it is the fourth state. One which is there but intangible. An important thing to see that really this whole concept that there is something which is there yet not tangible. It's a beautiful thing to see, really. It's just an amazing. That my nature, the Atma, is in this whole experience of life and yet has nothing to do with it. Because, again, I'm just revising what was said before was that my estimation of my life and experiences is that everything must be involved in it. It must have some presence, some experiences should be there. Now my question is, what kind of experiences? That's all I want. But the fact of the matter is that I am something unique, where I am there and yet not involved with the experiences. This is what is called Turya, the fourth one, as the very basis of the world, but not really being even the basis, not even the adhara, not even the adhisthana, as we were seeing earlier. So anyway, so that is vibhuhu smritaha. So vibhuhu smritaha, I'll probably just do one explanation of one word, vibhuhu. So vibhuhu means one which is, there's actually two ways of looking at vibhuhu. Here's Swami Maheshan. Let me take his examples. Oh my gosh, cannot believe it. Mantra 7, Mantra 7, Mantra 7. I was reading all this yesterday and I said, oh my God. So there are two. I'll just do one. This is all the time I will have today. So the word vibhuhu means, there are two ways of looking at word vibhuhu. Vividha akarena bhavati iti vibhuhu and vividham asmad bhavati iti vibhuhu. So it will be interesting just to see. So it means the one which is present in various ways. Vividha akarena bhavati. Vividha akarena means all the various forms, good, bad, far, small, big, etc. It is called vibhuhu. And the second one is from which everything comes out from. It's called vividham asmat bhavati. Asmat bhavati is a panchami, is the fifth case. So fifth case means from where all these things come about is called vibhuhu. So there is, he says, there is a difference in between them. So one is from where everything comes, becomes a karya karana bhava. Karya karana bhava means that there is a karana, there is a cause, and then there is a karya, which is the effect. So there is a connection between them, which is called karya karana bhava. So that is the explanation of vividha asmad bhavati iti vibhuhu. So here, in the case of gold and the golden ornaments, you can say the gold is the karanam and the ornaments are the karya. So this is what is called parinamavada. So parinamavada means one which is gold transforms itself into ornaments is called parinama. But the other one is vividha akarena bhavati iti vibhuhu, means that it never really transforms itself. It is in fact all forms of ornamentation are gold, or is only gold itself. Without making any change, it appears to make a change. So this is what is called Vivartavada, which we have studied. We have seen that before. I'm just revising that. So the Vivartavada is the one that we should really understand. And the reason is that even the things that appear to be parinamavada are essentially nothing but Vivartavada. So, for example, in our transactions, you find things do change. For example, the young person becomes old, the old person dies, and then there is death, there is birth, things change. So there is parinama. How can you say? But if you keep analyzing, eventually you find that all parinamas also are nothing but vivarta alone. How can you say that? Because they are changes within the consciousness, but the consciousness never changes. Atma never changes, even though it appears to change, but it never changes. Just like the gold may appear to transform, but it doesn't. So therefore, also is nothing but within Vivarta alone. Anyway, so that's the explanation of the Vibhuhu Smritaha. So Vibhuhu Smritaha Turiyaha. Vibhuhu Smritaha means that one which is known as the Vibhuhu, where it is not even a Parinama Karana, it is Vivarta Karanam of the whole creation. Anyway, so you can see now where the Karika now starts to dissect, analyze, focus on different aspects of the 7th verse. And this will go on forever. And I really think if we go to this kind of a level of detail, you and I both will be here until 2025. So we'll see. Om Swasti Bhaja Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. I'm so sorry. I thought we are going to leave about at least 12 minutes for question and answers, but I didn't realize I was looking at the wrong clock. It's already 9:30.